Steadily it rises.
Hey, it's ODB, the Lincoln Addict. This is going to be a video to showcase this 63 sedan that recently sold on September 21st, 2024. I was out of town a few days. I believe I looked at this listing, but I just didn't get to it in time prior to it selling. So the quick overview is this 63 sedan sold for $19,250. So a solid sub $20,000 price. The thing that stuck out to me is the exterior color and the interior color, very nicely done. So you have the ermine white and the turquoise leather interior. The other key thing was when you looked at the images, there was a lot of work done to this car in a good way. You know, someone went and spent thousands of dollars over the course of time to fix, all the little things that you have to do on a 50-plus-year-old car. And some of those invoices were included. You could see here $20,460. I mean, imagine spending that much money. And that was back 4 years ago in February of 2020. And this car just sold for $20,000. Now, oftentimes I think people, they see these higher end dollar cars and they go, how can you spend that much? Well, like in this case, imagine again owning this car and you go, hey, I want to kind of, take care of it, bring it up to, good mechanical working order, and you go to a local place. They're not going to do this stuff for free, right? You got to order your parts. Before you know it, you spend $20,000. I was kind of surprised this car didn't go for more. To be honest with you, I mean, we've seen some very, very solid sedan prices. And certainly, this car is not perfect. Not all of these cars are, but this one was in pretty darn good condition, in my opinion. The owner was active in the comments. There were a few things. Someone said here that, he mentions the choke and carburetor were replaced with the Edelbrock electric choke. The original carb was included. He says a quick note on the exhaust. Note of the video, the original exhaust system had a monstrous balance pipe between the rear resonators that took out the motorboating sound. I have a very worthwhile modification in your system, does not have it. Something along the lines of a question he was asked. Someone had asked, it seemed like there were things that weren't done at the time of a lot of the repairs. And I don't know if it was clear if he went back and did some of those things. But certainly he was active and he did answer folks' questions. But I thought at $20,000, it was definitely a solid price. You can see up underneath it, well, that's the engine bay, an upside-down photo. It has the 3-port fuel pump on it. But if you take a look here, you can see the carburetor swapped to the Edelbrock. You can kind of see the engine bay. The horns are up in this area on this year Lincoln. And up underneath was kind of typical, which you'll see. Pretty clean overall, but obviously, depending on how far you want to take it, you can make it a lot nicer. And then underneath the deck lid, this is not abnormal to see this kind of surface rust in here. These deck lids, depending on where you live and the humidity and things like that, they will end up with kind of rust holes on top, and it's because of the adhesive and what you kind of see underneath here. But it looked good, I think, for the most part on the outside, but those were a few things just kind of showcasing that, again, this car wasn't perfect. So I could understand someone going, hey, I would only pay $20,000, but you could easily take this car that you paid $20,000 for. It's got $20,000 in receipts, and you could put another $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in it, just bringing it up to a higher standard if you wanted to kind of keep it completely stock, going through it, top to bottom. So those are just a few things that I like to kind of keep in mind, because again, if this car had sold for $40,000, someone would go, how could it have? Well, you could see it sold for $20,000 and it had $20,000 in a receipt. So definitely interesting. And hopefully the new owner enjoys it. Stay on the rise. Consider subscribing here. You can check out LincolnAddict.com for ways to listen to the podcast. And you can buy stickers there as well. Take care, everyone.